What excites me about the research I've done, which I'm doing on risk, is I work with both the public and the private sector. I work with practitioners. And from my teaching at the Defense Academy, my students are essentially all practitioners. And when I looked at the dilemmas my students faced in terms of decision making within the military, I then used the risk triangle, so the idea that risk is basically at the center of personal, organizational and societal risk dynamics. So you can't look at risk in isolation, risk just in the context of an organization or risk in the context of society. We also have to talk about personal attitudes to risk, which are often forgotten in formalized risk management processes, partly because they're actually difficult to account for, because we all have different attitudes and so on. I gave evidence to the House of Lords Select Committee on Risk Assessment and Risk Planning. And the reason I was asked to give evidence to the committee was because of a publication I did in the Journal of the Royal United Services Institute. And there were two areas that they, in their final report, voted from my evidence. One was related to risk appetite, so the importance of risk appetite in an organization, because if an organization doesn't articulate a risk appetite, then it is very difficult to understand for people working within the organization and across all levels of the organization what actually their own risk appetite is, what are they working towards or against. So in that sense, it's important because it helps everyone to understand the priorities of the organization. Risk is not just a negative, because in many ways risk is often seen as something that has to be avoided, it has to be mitigated, but risk of course is also an opportunity. When we talk about it, we take a risk because we hope that something positive will happen. We don't take a risk in the anticipation that it will not work out. So intuitively, risk appetite draws our attention to the positive aspects where we actually see risk as an opportunity rather than something that is just negative and just needs to be managed, mitigated, so on. The second area they quoted me on was related to how the military use wargaming and exercising. The point I made was that you really lack students, for example, exercise to the point of failure. So you accept that failure happens and you let the exercise run, and if it then, for example, ends early because a failure point has been reached, then you accept that and then you work back from that failure point.